Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 29th December 2024. Come up with the Crusty podcast, episode 325, Embarrassing Canada, or better yet, CRA breaks law, Mar-A-Lago fiasco, and more global embarrassments coming to us from our beloved government. What will they think of next? You think Christmas would have smartened these wankers up, but I guess not. So hold on tight, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes another episode of the Crusty podcast. Listener and viewer discretion is advised, because I will swear, make funny faces, and just make just make fools of these ridiculous leaders. All that and more come at the show. Please stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. This podcast is brought to you in part by and supported by Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, Stand 2, Veterans for Freedom. And coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV. All that and more coming up. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas. I know my Christmas was eventful. Got some pretty cool swagger from my loving wife. Yes, of course. It always nice to get some good swagger, right? Exactly. Right. And I got her some nice presents too, but I was working, so I get paid time and a half. So extra time coming my way, for bills and everything like that too. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this content, all of your social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be shy. And please, to all my YouTubers out there, double check your subscription again, just to make sure, because I have went over my sub list there today, and I've lost another 400 plus subs. So whether they're bots, whether they're not, or people are getting tired, I don't know. If you don't like my show, that's fine. You don't have to subscribe and all that too. But since the 21st, in the past 8 days, I've lost about 1,000 subs already. So what's going on, Yankee Tango? What's going on? Let me know what's happening, eh? Is this something I said? Is there something in my teeth? Oh, I don't know. What is it? Anyhow, like the title card says, CR breaks law, Mar-A-Lago fiasco, and more global embarrassments coming from our government. I know such weird things happening after this holiday season. So I hope you all had a decent Christmas. New Year's is on its way too. I'll be working throughout New Year's, so I won't be having a little drinky poo. I'll just be working my ass off, getting things paid off. That's the breaks for some of us, ladies and gentlemen. That's the breaks for some of us blue-collar folk. But there's some issues here with the CRA, as the title card says. Canada's revenue agency. My American listeners out there, and to my other world listeners, Canada's revenue collecting service, basically the tax people. Oh, yes, those tax collectors. Oh, my goodness. The Canadian Revenue Agency. Now, apparently, they proposed a capital gains tax, a proposition. Hasn't been passed as law yet, what have you. Basically, anybody who makes more than $100,000, if they sell a property, whatever, they got to pay an additional 16% tacked on to 50% of that sale. Make a long story short, you're going to get screwed. Now, the CRA, our revenue people, our little bureaucratic box collectors, our little people who sit in cubicles all the time and complain about having to do a 3-day work week, because some of them just have to commute and travel so far just to sit in an office and complain all the time and take money from people like you and me. So here's a story from the Toronto Sun in regards to that too. And I'll post this, and I'll put all this in my descriptions, ladies and gentlemen, too, if you like. But I'll read along here with it, and I'll just give you some insight on just the buffoonery that has been bestowed on us Canadians yet again because of, stupidity, because of stupid people. You know what I mean? A lot of stupid people out there calling the shots for us Canucks, and it's just not right anymore. People are getting pissed off. So confusion reigns over the proposed capital gains inclusion rate hike. So basically, you just want to gouge more money too. Despite no bill ever being tabled to increase Canada's capital gains inclusion rate, reports suggest the Canadian Revenue Agency may move ahead anyway with the proposed changes. As reported earlier this week by Blacklock's reporter, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, CFIB, quoted an official with the CRA suggesting The increase from the current 50% rate to 66 proposed in the 2024 budget may still apply. Can you say jumping the gun? They're desperate for other people's money. Quote unquote, if Parliament is dissolved for an election before the higher inclusion rate has become law, the agency will continue to administer the proposed legislation, said CRA project officer Nina Isapova, according to CFIB. This makes no sense at all, said CFIB CEO Dan Kelly, reported to Blacklocks. There needs to be a time limit for a government to put legislation in place to raise taxes. How much uncertainty can the country handle? It's time for the government to withdraw this proposal and to allow each party to outline its position on capital gains taxation during the upcoming election campaign. CRA spokesperson Benoit Sabarin wouldn't elaborate when contacted by Blacklock's reporter. Quote unquote, we are looking into this, he said. We will keep you up to date. As outlined in the government's spring budget, the new 66% capital gains inclusion rate will take effect June 25th, but no bill was ever introduced into Parliament. So what's that tell you? What's that tell you? Honestly, folks, what does that tell you? It tells you it's bullshit. They're jumping the gun. They're desperate for a few extra bucks, right? I still receive notices in the mail that I owe additional this and additional that because their assessment team says I should give them some more money, even though I'm working like a goddamn dog. And I'm thinking, where do you find the time to come up with the math to ding me for some more cash? I tell you, okay? So some people's kids, you know what I mean? So since this ass clown, this Justin Trudeau has been elected, it seems like our taxes have gone up because they've spent more money. Now, we've seen that with every government. Not just one government has been perfect, but every government since the better part of 1976, okay, from what I remember, when I was being told and hearing about the stress, what my parents went through, what my grandparents went through, what friends of ours went through, what I went through, my wife has gone through, every government has increased taxation. They spent more, they tax more. Now you've got bureaucrats, unelected officials jumping the gun to gouge more money from people. Because, it really, really sucks to have to go to a cubicle for 3 days out of the week and just, work with your hands and your fingers and your toes when the rest of us are paying your fucking bills. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have a military that can do its job because people worry about tampons in the washroom and different dress regulations and, oh my God, and unity. But they don't want to unify anything, right? Then we got a prime minister that would rather go skiing than handle any real kind of international or intercontinental business. But I'll get to that shortly, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, it's like, Christmas, it's almost the gifts keep on giving. You know what I mean? Well, it's like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, crack don't smoke itself.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, the podcast. Please click like, subscribe, share this content, all your social media platforms too. Do not be shy. Let me know what's on your mind. Give me a thumbs up, give me a click, give me a like, all that good stuff. Even if you see this on Rumble and any other platform, please give me a comment. Get the algorithm going. Help us Canucks get our words out there too. Like I said earlier, I've lost subscribers all of a sudden, and YouTube cannot give me a straight fudgesicle of an answer. So let's get a few things straight here. If you like the show, great. If you don't like the show, that's fine too. That's everyone's choice. We're allowed to think for ourselves and decide if you like this or like that. But I'm just still finding it coincidental that there's so many subscribers who've been knocked off my page. So double check your subscription. Make sure you're still subscribed, ladies and gentlemen, and resubscribe if you have to. Click the notification bell. Therefore, new content from me comes your way. You're well aware of it too. So tell your friends, tell your kids, tell your kids, however you want to go by doing it. Anyway, carrying on with the show. Now, Mar-A-Lago, we have got Dominic LeBlanc, our new finance minister, and 2IC, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister himself, and Melanie Joly. They went down to the States to negotiate with Trump's team in regards to the 25% tariff that Trump proposed, or basically said he's going to put on Canada and Mexico if we don't smarten up our border issues. Okay. Now, before people clench their pearls and get all mad at me for saying, how dare you, Crusty, take the side of that bad orange man. Well, I'm not taking his side, but I can also see where he's coming from too. Because when you look at our policies when it comes to the borders in both of our countries, it's been pretty effing slack. Okay. Pretty slack and idle. Okay. I'm all for immigration. I'm all for people coming, moving around, living here, living there, contributing, paying their share of taxes, and doing their thing, and let freedom reign, But I don't agree with anyone just coming across the border saying they're a student and they're taking some kind of cake decorating course and they get a half-ass diploma and then they demand to stay. I don't agree with that, because half of those overnight schools and all these diploma makers are fakers taking money from good people who just want a better life. But don't get me wrong, there's also some stragglers there who want to screw the system too. Okay. And like I said, I'm all for immigration. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not anti this. I'm just anti-bullshit. And because the benefits that are given to brand new people that come around and do this and do that, a lot of them just sit on the dole for a while, meaning they enjoy the benefits and they don't want to get off their ass and do much. Okay. Now I've had people say to me, well, Crusty, there's people that won't take these jobs and people that won't do this and do that. And at one time they were right. But now the way the economy is going, where you're demanding things, but there's no supply, it's kind of hard for anybody. It doesn't matter what color you are or what gender you are or how you fart in the wind. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay. There's a lot of crap going on and the federal government's responsible for it. We got to sort it out. Anyhow, I will put a little blurb up here about LeBlanc and Joly, about their visit to the United States to try to talk to Trump's people. Now, there isn't much to be said about it because apparently mum is the word on it. But what else do you expect from the Liberal government? These ass clowns constantly worrying about their feelings and how things are going to look when they know things are turning to crap, but they don't want to take responsibility for it. Anyhow, here's the story.
The Trudeau cabinet have traveled to Florida to meet with members of Donald Trump's incoming administration. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly have gone to Palm Beach. It follows a meeting between the Prime Minister and Trump at Mar-A-Lago last month. A statement from LeBlanc's office says the ministers intend to focus on border security and the negative impact that threatened tariffs would have on both Canada and the U.S.
Like, what do you expect? Honestly, what do you expect from somebody who brags about how much he used to babysit the prime minister when, he was younger? To me, that's not a great talking point. And obviously, because he was such a great babysitter, Justin just had to give him a job, I gotta say. You know what I mean? It must have been just that great altogether to give him a great job to sit here and say, oh, look at you. You looked after me when I was a little boy. Let me look after you. Let me look after you. Eh? Oh, must be fun. Fuck. Anyhow, I'm not going to worry about the Key Largo thing because you can tell they're all scrambling now, eh? They're all scrambling to make good, to make do, to look like they actually give a shit when they've had the better part of 10 years. It's coming on to 10 years now, ladies and gentlemen, of what's going on. Now you're finding more and more cabinet ministers that are screeching and screaming out about, oh, Trudeau, you must step down. You must step down. You must step down. Okay. And well, yeah, he should. He should step down. But you're finding a lot of his backbenchers are slowly creeping up to say, hey, it's time you step down. Even though they've too have had the better part of 10 years to sit there and say, well, I'm not happy with your decisions. See, that's what gets me with certain cabinet members too. It doesn't matter what party you're with. I don't care if you're NDP, Bloc. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're independent. When you know your leadership is doing something wrong, okay, and you're not really thinking about the repercussions of those wrong decisions or even those right decisions, you would think that you would be obligated, your moral compass, your moral fiber, because you're not just representing the party, you're representing your constituents. And it doesn't matter if you represent 10,000 constituents or 100,000 constituents. You think you would step in and say, hey, PM, or hey, minister, or hey, buds, what the fuck are you doing? If you increase taxes here, this is what's going to happen. If you take away money here, this is what's going to happen. If you give this money away over there, right here is going to suffer. But no, of course not, because every one of those little bastards loves their cushy positions and they love the payola. They love the perks that goes with it, right? They love the perks. That's just the way it is, right? Like I've said numerous episodes, not the party, not the person, but the constituents and the country. But they don't see it that way. No, of course not, because that would be too hard. That means they'll actually have to do some intense labor, some brainstorming, right? Some proper thinking. Oh, what does this mean? Oh, what the hell does that mean? It means you do your job. You're elected to represent. What are you representing? Like I just mentioned earlier about the CRA thing. They're taxing without proper representation. It's stealing, folks. It is. Taxation is theft, period. Regardless of how big you want the military or how great social programs you want here or what social programs you want there, taxation now is theft, period. It is. How else do you look at it? You know, you could look at it with the whole old adage of there's only two things certain in life there, Crusty, is death and taxes. Well, if you're a fucking mortician and a goddamn great accountant, of course they're certain. But what if you're just an average Joe or an average Jane and you just want to get along, save your money, and just live your life? You know, it's those ass clowns that I mentioned earlier that are making it harder. And it's time we start fucking fighting back.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyway, you're back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. If you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. Let me know. A lot of my contact information is in the description to it. If you feel like donating, please consider donating, ladies and gentlemen. A consistent $3 a month from at least a good 400 or 500 of you subscribers would be fantastic for me. Give what you can too. If you check out the Buy Me Coffee app, in my description, there's perks there too. So if you give a constant donation of $3 a month, you get a chance to win a free t-shirt. If you give a consistent donation of $10 a month, you get a chance to win a t-shirt and a hat from my store. And the link to the store is in my description too. So please check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Give us Canucks a hand. At least give this Canuck a hand if you can. I'm not going to demand coin. I'm not going to be one of those needy individuals that think I deserve the world. But hey, every little bit helps, you know. I do put some effort in making this podcast, so a little compensation would be nice. But like I said, you don't have to, so that's fine. But please consider nonetheless. So anyway, carrying on with this whole issue with CRA breaks law, Mar-A-Lago issue. You know, in a way, I don't blame the Americans. I don't blame the Americans for telling us to smarten up. I don't. You know, how would we feel if the British were telling us that, or the French, or the Germans? You know, there's a big ocean in the way, but still. The way the globalization system is working via online, what you see me through here and there, can you really blame them? Our biggest trading partner, they want us to step up to the plate. Fine. We should do it. But what's the problem? You know, there's so many people out there who are worrying about their national identity. You agreed with the prime minister that said we were a pro-national state. You also agreed with the prime minister that called the anti-vaxxers dirty effing names. You also agreed with the prime minister that implemented the Emergency Measures Act. Think about that. Hey, think about that. To some of the people out there that do watch my show and they do weigh in with certain criticisms, where was your stance during the pandemic? What was your stance during the convoy? And then think about it. And now you're worried about national identity? Huh? Why would you stand up for national identity then? We impressed the fucking world. Those individuals that put on that convoy impressed the world. What are you going to do? Think about that. Anyway, carrying on with more of this whole embarrassment too. Now, here's a video of Justin Trudeau. He was skiing recently because, of course, he's got to go on holiday. Anytime there's any kind of stress in this country, Justin's got to fuck off and go on holiday because he just needs his beauty sleep and needs his rest. But there's an individual here who basically told him, you know, where to go. And it's just interesting how it is. You know, it's just really, really interesting how this is going on. The world's turning into a chaotic nightmare. And we've got a prime minister that would rather go skiing rather than being down to Key Largo or Mar-A-Lago himself to look after things. You know what I mean? Which he should have done. You know, instead of Jolie and Dominic LeBlanc, his babysitter. That's kind of ironic, though. You know, he babysitted Justin when he was a kid. And in a way, he's kind of trying to babysit him now, too. You know, pick up his slack. But if you can, listen to what is said here in this little video.
Mr. Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Please get the fuck out of BC.
Have a wonderful day, Mal.
Yeah, you suck.
Okay, you know, that's self-explanatory, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll leave this link in the description for you. You know, it's serves him right. And serves him right. Like I said, this whole party wants him out now too. George Chahal out of Calgary, okay, the porch pirate. Now I'll call him the porch pirate because the last federal election, he was caught going to people's mailboxes, taking out conservative flyers and pamphlets, right? Now that's not very good conduct becoming of an MP, is it? And yet he was still elected. Go figure, right? You know, and now he's crying the blues apparently because now he doesn't want Justin to lead. He wants Justin to resign. So, you know, rats are leaving the ship, everybody. How else do you explain it? Okay. So we're trying to negotiate a deal with the Americans here, and Justin wants to go off skiing. What's that tell you? Now, apparently there's some rumblings too about him and his staff being rude at the ski resort where he was at, where he was bumping people in front of the line. Now it's allegations. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm sure there's a lot of people in that area of British Columbia, doesn't matter where they're from, can recognize the silly potato's face and know for sure exactly what he was doing. Now, Justin has been on tour all the time with a big entourage, big security detail, because people are catching on to his bullshit. And some other members of his cabinet are too, because apparently there's been death threats. Do you blame him, ladies and gentlemen? Do you blame him? Do you really blame him? Mm-hmm. Not that I encourage that sort of behavior. No, really, I don't. But who am I anyway? Anyway, needless to say, it's a shit show. And after this Christmas, I have said we got to be thankful and appreciate what we have. And we do. I appreciate what I have in my life. I appreciate you, my wonderful audience. Give yourselves a wonderful round of applause. Because you guys are awesome, especially the ones that have not been unsubscribed or taken off or have stuck around all this time. So thank you once again to everybody who has stuck around with me all this time too. Like I've mentioned before, there's going to be some improvements coming to the Crusty Canuck podcast. I am going to introduce two characters. They'll be doing certain segues during my episodes. So stay tuned for that. They're characters that I created myself. A little improvement in some older characters, but needless to say, there'll be some more comedy on the podcast there for you, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I just hope you enjoy it. You know, you find some laughter out of it. I had some real good fun creating those characters, so I hope you enjoy it too. That'll probably happen within the next year, pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. And things are going to be tough next little while, ladies and gentlemen, for all of us here. Not just here at the show, but around us and around your neighborhoods and all that too. Because they want to call an election, and I think an election might be called probably February, my best guess, because there's a certain loophole they can do within committee to basically have a no confidence. Now, as far as I know, the rules in Parliament have kept on changing since Christ was a cowboy. So who knows? But people are getting sick of the garbage, and it's time we start throwing it out. You know what I mean? It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Anyhow, this episode's song is from a band called The Call, released in 1989. It's called Let the Day Begin. And when you actually listen to the lyrics, it's a very, very powerful blue-collar song. It's a salute to blue-collar people out there. It's a salute to everyone who tries. It's a salute to everybody who is given all they can, and they keep on going. So I hope you enjoy that song, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, it comes from a band called The Call. It was released in 1989. I don't know if the band still tours or not, too, but that was probably one of their only major hits from that decade. And it's not your typical 80s kind of song. It's not hair metal. It's not synth pop. It's just a good old-fashioned kind of rock band, just giving their all and appreciating the blue-collar heroes out there. So please give it a listen to. I'll include it in the episode song there, ladies and gentlemen, too. And next episode, I'll have a few more songs up for you all to enjoy at your leisure. But in the meantime, New Year's is coming, so I'll try to have an episode up probably for prior to New Year's Eve or on New Year's Eve, just to wish, good tidings and all that good stuff. But I'll try to be a little more consistent with the show, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful people like you make it happen too. And I've noticed I had some downloads from the Philippines and more from Israel. So thank you very much to my fan base in the Philippines, and shalom to my Israeli viewers, thank you very much. Please give me some comments and likes and all that good stuff too. Just let me know if you're out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know. Don't be shy. The more comments, the more thumbs up, the more it helps us Canucks get our words out well before they start passing in these silly censorship laws like Bill C-63 and what have you. But anyway, folks, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 29th of December, 2024. I wish good things for you all too. Don't lose your heads. Basically don't lose your mind. Don't lose your nerves. Do what you can. Help you out in these trying times. I know Christmas just has come and gone. I still wish Merry Christmas to you all out there. And looking forward to the new year, new things, new tidings, new adventures, and new light in this manufactured darkness. And so, like I say, do what you can. Help you out in these trying times. Be kind, be civil, keep your head, but stand high and stand proud. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.